Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know I'm shooting straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, a.k.a. The Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Hi! Part deux. I told you I'd be here, and I am here, baby, in full effect. I'm so excited to see you all. If this is your first time joining me, you have tuned into The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, and what we do here is we do reviews of films, feature films, sometimes they're classics, and interviews with people above and below the line in the film industry. I'm your host, excuse me. I'm your host, Carla Renata, and it's such a pleasure to see you today. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all of you and all the love that you always show me. Everybody has been in on the YouTube and on the Twitter and just been very, very kind. So I thank you. So without further ado, I'm not going to run my mouth because I'm not trying to keep y'all all day or all night. But I am going to do a review of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I know I'm grossly late in that respect. I'm going to talk about the 25th anniversary of Titanic. I'm going to talk about the re-release of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I'm going to talk about a film that's being released, or has been released rather, by Bleecker Street Pictures called Emily. I'll tell you all about it in a minute. And then, of course, I have interviews with the cast and creatives from the hit Peacock TV series Bel Air. All right. So having said that, let's see who's in the chat room. Hello, Raven Wisdom. Hey, girl, tuning in from LinkedIn. Thank you for joining me. And thanks for tuning in. All right. So let me get right on into it. Before I do that, though, we're going to take a little trip around the curve. Here we go. Take a trip around the curve. We are in the thick of award seasons with Oscars less than 3 weeks away. First up, BAFTAs. All Quiet on the Western Front was named Best Picture. Acting awards went to Austin Butler for Elvis, Cate Blanchett for Tar, Kerry Condon and Barry Keoghan for The Banshees of Inisherin. James Cameron just can't stay out of that water, baby, but it brings him good luck because Avatar: The Way of the Water dominated the 21st annual VES Awards. That's right. And 13 Lives, the harrowing story of the 2018 Thai cave rescue from Amazon Studios. MGM and United Artists won for supporting visual effects, and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish for effects simulations in an animated feature. Spielberg, who is both the most nominated and winningest film director in DGA history with 13 nominations and 3 wins, was the sentimental favorite going into the show. 2 directors who go by the name of Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert have been named Best Theatrical Film Directors of 2022 for Everything Everywhere All at Once at the DGA this past weekend, hosted by Judd Apatow. The award for documentary director went to Sarah Dosa for Fire of Love, Sam Levinson for Euphoria, and the comedy series went to Bill Hader for Barry. Nicole Brown hosted the 27th Annual Art Directors Guild Awards. Everything Everywhere All at Once, Babylon, and Glass Onion: A Knives Out Mystery took the top film honors. Nicole Kidman flew in from Australia to present the Guild's Cinematic Imagery Award to Elvis director Baz Luhrmann and his wife and longtime producing partner, Catherine Martin. Alec is set to star in the 20th Century thriller Amateur and Michael Keaton is going back to his comedy roots with Goodrich. The cast of the thriller Rich Flu has been set, with Mary Elizabeth Winstead and Lorraine Bracco amongst the star-studded cast. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 is hitting theaters early fall. Pluto animated series by Naoki Urasawa and Takashi Nakasaki is set for Netflix this fall. M. Night Shyamalan signed a deal with Warner Brothers and lots of heartache for Hollywood these last few weeks. Saving Private Ryan actor Tom Sizemore is in critical condition. Stella Stevens, star of Poseidon Adventure and a lot of Elvis Presley movies, died at the age of 84. Raquel Welch died last Thursday at the age of 82. And Richard Gere is hospitalized in Mexico with pneumonia. Bruce Willis's condition worsens with frontotemporal dementia diagnosis. Oh, bless all of them. Bleecker Street acquires Ray Fiennes and Juliette Binoche star of The Return for North America, and Eva Longoria Searching for Mexico sets a March premiere date at CNN. True crime docuseries Blood and Money is set at CNBC by Dick Wolf, Wolf's Entertainment, and lots of re-releases this year, including Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Titanic, and Wattstax, the 50th anniversary, which is hitting theaters February 24th. Marvels has been set back from July 28th to November 10th and directed by Nia DaCosta. Today on The Curvy Critic, we're going to review the film Emily. We're going to talk to the cast of Bel Air on Peacock, and I'm going to review Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Ooh, baby, that Michelle Pfeiffer, I could have her as a superhero all day long. That's it for this week's Around the Curve. I know that was super long, and it was a lot of news. Let me move this up. And that there was a lot of news, but it had been a couple of weeks since I was able to get into that. So there you go. Got you around the curve. So let me reiterate what I did over the weekend. I took my mother to see the Genesis Invitational, which is Tiger Woods' event. And there she is in all her glory. I love my mama so much. And then here's a couple of more pictures of me and the fam. Okay. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk a little bit about this Titanic 25th anniversary. It was directed by James Cameron back in the day. I can't believe it is 25 years later. It made a star out of Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio, and Leo and Kate and James, all three of them have Oscars, and the film is as timeless today as it was when it came out 25 years ago. You can catch the 25th anniversary 25 years later Titanic with James Cameron on Nat Geo. It's been up on the site since February 5th. And speaking of Titanic, Avatar has surpassed Titanic in terms of how much money it has made at the box office. So snaps and claps to Mr. James Cameron. Now, let's talk a little bit about this little Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon situation. I don't have any photos of that, but I'm going to come back on camera and talk about it because there's some things I need to say. So first of all, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was one of these films that it was an Asian film that came out during a time where there weren't a whole lot of films with all Asian cast, directed by an Asian director. The film was directed by Ang Lee back in the day. It had Michelle Yeoh, Ziyi Zhang, Chow Yun-fat, Chang Chen, P.P. Chang. When I tell you the fight sequences in this film only rival the old school Bruce Lee films. I'm telling you, Michelle Yeoh did her thing, and I can't even believe that it's taken Hollywood this long to get on the Michelle Yeoh train. I'm just saying, this was the only major film with an all-Asian cast at the time other than Joy Luck Club and Memoirs of a Geisha. And it's a shame that I can only list, 5 films on one hand. When it comes to Asian cinema, Hollywood, we got to do better. We got to do better. But the film is being re-released into theaters. Check your local listings to see where. But I wouldn't be me if I didn't put it on your radar and make you aware of it. All right, cool. So now let's talk a little bit about where did it go? Oh, sorry. When you operate these buttons yourself, honey, it's a journey. Let's talk a little bit about Mr. Ant-Man and Mr. Wasp and Miss Michelle Pfeiffer. Now, this film is the third in the franchise. It's a Marvel Studios joint. This one is called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And what happens is Michelle Pfeiffer's character ended up in the multiverse for 30 years. And now she's back. She doesn't want to talk about it with her daughter, who's played by Evangeline Lilly, who is the Wasp. And she doesn't want to talk about it, but her her granddaughter comes up, well, not her granddaughter, was going to be her granddaughter. Paul Rudd's daughter comes up with this device that sends signals to the multiverse, and ultimately they all end up going back there. And so then now they're trying to all get out and figure out how to get out, but there's some unfinished business between Michelle Pfeiffer's character and Jonathan Majors character Kang, when Kang the Conqueror. When I tell you Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the bomb, only because of Michelle Pfeiffer and Jonathan Majors, because their scenes together, you're like, I was breathless. I was riveted. I was leaning into every single word they said. That's not to say that Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, and and Bill Murray, who gives a brief cameo, it's not to say any of them are any less in the film. But I'm telling you, when you see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, you're going to walk away with, you know what? I just need more Marvel films with Michelle Pfeiffer and Jonathan Majors. I'm just saying. When you watch the film, it's cinematically stunning. It's like taking a psychedelic acid trip through the multiverse. Um, and I love that every woman in it was capable. This is what I love about Marvel films. They never, ever, ever make women look weak or incapable. Love that. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is in theaters right now, and I'm sure it will be streaming at some point on Disney Plus. I will let you know when that happens. Let's talk a little bit about this film, Emily, that I love, 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 love. Love this movie. So Emily is a film that deals with the author Emily Bronte, who is the author of one of my favorite films, Wuthering Heights. And it deals with her, is that the director and the writer Frances O'Connor does take a lot of liberties, but she finds a way to talk about Emily Bronte's process and bringing Wuthering Heights to a book, which is now a feature film a few times over. It's my favorite feature film of all time. I was introduced to it by my mother, and I'm a fan of the original one with Sir Laurence Olivier and Merle Oberon. But having said that, Emily imagines, this is what it's about. It imagines the transformative, exhilarating, and uplifting journey to womanhood of a rebel, i.e., Emily, and a misfit of one of the world's famous, most enigmatic, and provocative writers who died too soon at the age of 30. Emily Bronte died at the age of 30. And I'm telling you, Wuthering Heights is a masterpiece. If you have not seen it, if you have not read it, you are truly missing out. Frances O'Connor with this film shows that women can be as comfortable in their sexuality and that they are branching out into a man's world of literature before it was popular or fashionable to do so. You'll also, if you are a fan of Wuthering Heights like I am, you will recognize traits from Wuthering Heights of the characters within the book and in the movies. If you're a fan, you will totally spot all of those things. And when I tell you, Emma McKay, who plays Emily Bronte in this film, she is fire, giving you Heathcliff and Kathy all at once. And if you've seen Wuthering Heights, or if you've read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The film is superbly acted, it's superbly directed, it's in theaters as of February 17th, which was over the weekend. Do yourselves a favor, baby, and check out some Emily, because I'm telling you, it is absolutely positively fabulous. Yes, Raven. I love positively represented characters, and Michelle Pfeiffer is outstanding. And thank you once again for saying hello to me. I really appreciate that. All right, so moving on, let's talk a little bit about Bel Air on Peacock. I've got the cast and the creatives here, and if you know anything about Bel Air, it is a dramatic interpretation of the wildly successful sitcom that was on NBC for years. This version, which is a more dramatic version, like I said, is now streaming on Peacock TV. Season 1 is streaming right now. You can see the whole season 1 right now before you get into season 2. And I unfortunately wasn't able to get everybody because they were running super, super late that day. But I got some folks for you. So what I want to show you first is the guy who started it all. Morgan Cooper is the creative force behind Bel Air. And I'm going to let him tell you how it went from a wildly successful sitcom to this wildly successful drama on Peacock TV. What's happening, Morgan?
How are you? So good to see you.
It's good to be seen, brother. It's
I
good
know that's
to be
right.
seen.
That's right.
So listen, I didn't get a chance to talk to you for season 1. So congratulations for season 2.
Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to know, how did you go from having this viral short to this? Because it's the bomb.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, it's happened so quick. These past several years, going from development, when we released the short film on March 10th, 2019, less than 24 hours after we dropped it, Will's company, Westbrook, reached out and they said, Will loves your short, wants to meet with you. So I'm in Calabasas the next day and Will's on FaceTime down in Miami. He's doing Bad Boys 3 at the time and he's got like prosthetics. I don't think he was in a fight scene or whatever. And he's just like, yo, I love this. And, he asked me the question of like, what do you want to do with this? And I always feel like there are these moments in our lives that are kind of defining in a lot of ways. And I was ready for that moment. And I pitched him my vision to adapt this, my short film into a 1-hour drama. And he loved the idea. And so I go down to Miami a week later and we start developing it. And several years later, here we are. Season 2 is a wrap. And, we're very excited about the future of the show. So it's happened very quickly, but at the same time, it's been a long journey, but a beautiful one.
I'm very excited for the trajectory of this show as well. And what I'm most excited about is the fact that you guys address such hot button topics, because it's one thing to take it from a comedy to a drama, but then not to shy away from things that are important, like mental health in the Black community, especially for Black men. I want to know, was that your idea or was that a writer's room thing?
I think it was a collective vision, attacking a lot of these really, really important issues. Since day one, we knew we wanted to talk about mental health, even going back to season 1 of want to have conversations surrounding mental health, want to have conversations surrounding, things that are happening politically right now that are suppressing our voices as Black people and, in this country and really globally in a lot of ways. And so, but for us, it's really important that we write to these particular themes through the prism of character. We don't want to be a show that feels like it's standing on a soapbox and that it's preaching and all of that. It's like people can watch the news for that. And so our way of addressing these things is through the prism of character. And so you talk about Carlton and the hurdles that he experiences really in season 2 that come to a head, in terms of mental health, that we feel is going to create really powerful conversations long after the credits roll, on the episode. And that's all you could want, is to help move the needle forward, to help push things in the right direction through the art that we're making.
And just to lighten it up as we close it out here, what is one of your most favorite episodes of The Fresh Prince that you absolutely remember that made you just really kind of guffaw?
Papa's Got a Brand New Excuse.
Oh, shut up.
It's so good. That episode is so good. And, I'm thankful. I grew up with my father. My father's been in my life every single day, and I'm forever thankful for that. But, I grew up with guys who didn't have dads. And so my dad became, kind of a surrogate father, somewhere they would come over the house and they would see my dad as more of a father figure. And so, just that episode, I think, speaks to so many of the experiences out there of young Black men, young Black boys, who yearn for that mentorship, and I love that, we're changing the narrative because Black fathers exist and Black fathers are there. And, so there's something, that episode is just so powerful, and Ben Vereen, the performances, Will's monologue at the end of the episode is now iconic and really launched him to a whole different altitude in terms of his acting trajectory. It's just a masterful half hour of television, and it gets me emotional just thinking about it. It's just so beautiful and so powerful.
I'm inclined to agree with you. So let me just say thank you so very, very much. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Love the show. I can't wait until season 3 happens. And thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, thank you as well. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you too, Morgan. Bye.
All right, bye.
I love Morgan. I loved his enthusiasm for how the show got started. I mean, I know this is an old question for him, but like I said, I did not get an opportunity to speak to him during season one. Lord knows what I was doing. It wasn't for lack of opportunity. I can assure you that. Um, but I love his enthusiasm. I love how he broke down the show. And let me just remind you, I do not review television shows because I am simultaneously an actress on television shows. So I feel like that would be a conflict of interest for me. But I will interview somebody and talk to them all day long. Just saying for you people out there. I. Oh, and before I forget, give me a big thumbs up if you're on the YouTube to let me know that you were here so I can, give you some love too. All right. So having said that, I also spoke to one of the showrunners and one of the writers for Bel Air. She's my namesake, Carla Banks Waddles. She has written for so many sitcoms. I'm gonna let y'all look it up because, honey, if I try to list all the shows that she has written for, we'll be here until next Sunday. But I'm gonna let Carla tell you more about her process in writing this wonderful show.
Hey. Hello, Carla. I don't meet Carlas a lot. How are you?
Me neither. So I'm very excited right now. And let me just say congratulations on season 2.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So I noticed when I was, doing a little checking up on you, that you come from a really heavy sitcom background. And with Bel Air, this is a show where they've taken the iconic sitcom and flipped it into something with a little more, a little more serious state of affairs, so to speak. So I just wanted to find out from you, how much of a shift was that for you from a writing perspective?
Yeah, I started my career, as you said, in half-hour multi-camera comedy. So very different going from half-hour to 1 hour. This isn't my first 1 hour space, but definitely the muscle is different. But I love it because you definitely have more real estate to tell just real stories that feel a little more authentic with emotional turns and stakes that you don't always have the real estate and time to do in a world where, you're telling 3 jokes every minute because that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's just talk about some of the seriousness that happens in this particular episode. There is a nice little arc that is taken where we pay a little bit of attention to mental health in the Black community, specifically Carlton's anxiety, which kicked in during season 1, but we get to explore it a little bit more in season 2. I wanted to know why you guys made the choice to explore that, because it was really lovely the way it was played out.
Yes, thank you. I think seeing Carlton, a very different Carlton, obviously in season 1, who had drug addictions. We knew season 2 coming back and had some panic attacks and anxiety in season 1, knowing that it's not over. Like, it doesn't just disappear that easy just because he's got Will in his life all of a sudden. So I know we talked in the writer's room about really wanting to come back and give that story its due and really take the time to talk about mental health in young people, mental health in our young Black boys, mental health for a character that is our Carlton, and learning a little bit more about that and taking the time to really tell that story, which will really be an all season long story for him in many ways, so that we can really deal with it in a way that feels real.
I loved that. I loved everything about that. And I also loved how you guys touched upon the family, chosen family versus the family that you're given. And I was just wondering for you, being a writer in the entertainment industry, oftentimes your chosen family are the people that you spend a lot of time with outside of the house. Mm-hmm. And that had if any of that, if you took any of that and you were able to sprinkle your own experience into the Banks's experience.
Yes. Yes, definitely. In so many ways, that writer's room is that chosen family too. But yeah, just for me, I think in terms of my personal experiences, just growing up in Detroit, I feel like so much of my connection to Will comes from that West Philly Will and that fish out of water being dropped into this chosen family of the Banks family. and just what that's like. Going from, in season 1, we talked about, I think he had a speech to Lisa where he said, I just don't understand why Carlton, his uncomfortability, because Will comes from a world of all Black neighborhood, all Black church, all Black friends. He was surrounded by a Black community. Carlton didn't grow up that way. And so it's these two different boys having two very different experiences. And so I think so much a part of me, I can identify with that. With that for Will, and just that West Philly side of him that feels so comfortable that he's trying to hold on to, because he doesn't ever want to be the Carlton in many ways that loses sight of what that is.
Okay, Carla, I see you with that little edge, that little West Philly edge going on for me.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak to me about Bel-Air. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving me and my audience a little insight. I'm looking forward to many more episodes that you're writing, whether it's on Bel-Air or someplace else. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big fan of your writing and have been for time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carla. It's been a joy talking to you. Thank you.
You're welcome, Carla. Bye. I hardly ever see somebody with my name. So when I do, I get super excited. And FYI, but not really, my hair is swooped over to the side with that crazy scarf. And looking like it's like been glued together, because I was in the middle of getting my hair done that day. And baby, the whole back was just out, but that's another story for another day. Let me go back to the comments section and say hello to my boy, Orlando McAllister. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. It's my pleasure to come and holler at y'all. And I'm glad that people are talking to me today. I love when people talk to me, send me some messages and talk to me while we're doing this. So I don't feel like I'm doing this by myself. But before I get to this last interview with Simone and Jordan, who respectively play Lisa and Jazz, let me show you this little reel that I made about me and my mama at the Genesis Invitational. And let me thank my girl, Jaz Wang, for inviting me. Thank you, Jaz. And thank you, Genesis, for the invitation. That was cute, right? I know. Anyway, without further ado, here's my last interview with Simone Jordan and Jordan Jones from Bel-Air, respectively, Lisa and Jazz. Hey, Simone and Jordan, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey, come on. Better dance.
Oh my God, I am so first of all, let me say congratulations for season 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm waiting for season 3, but we'll get there when we get there. And that part. And I am so excited for what the creators are doing with Jazz and Lisa this season. I'm so excited, but not to give any, I'm in for all of it. I'm in for all the love, the Jazz and Lisa are getting in for all of it. But a lot of this season deals with, rebuilding trust, and specifically rebuilding trust with family, whether they're chosen or not. And I just want to know how y'all feel about that when you're in a situation where you have to balance that position of trusting someone that is chosen family or trusting someone that is your family.
And my chosen family obviously is Will, or my relationship, And I think, but for my character, it's not so much about, I don't think it's more about trusting. I feel like more for me, it's about them trusting me in a way. I haven't had a situation where I was told or advised to do something specifically and to trust them, but I try to give, little Easter eggs or whatever the case, maybe to help out my friends or my girl or, things like that. So, yeah.
I think for Lisa with chosen family, like her family is literally broken in different ways. Her mom has passed. Her dad has different agendas in different ways. And so really the Banks being a chosen family is a really big deal for her because they've been there for her.
Absolutely. And that's what I was getting to, because the Banks is a chosen family for Lisa.
Yeah.
You know, Lisa's mother has passed on. Her father's being real special and acting out in all kinds of different ways. And Lisa's having a hard time grasping with that and understanding that, but loving her father all at the same time. So when Vivian kind of goes like this to you, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's chosen family is important. And for Jazz too, it's a big deal that Will is this chosen family for you, because he has opened up your world in ways that you probably didn't even see coming, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You better say something.
Listen, I'm a fan. I watched the show. I'm not just somebody talking to y'all that ain't seen an abbreviated watch of the show of the season. I watched the daggum show. Okay. But having said that, speaking about your relationships outside of the chosen family, I know we can't say too much about that because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But if you had to choose someone that you would end up with, would it be and we're not going to say who you end up with.
I was like,
no. But if we had to choose who you were going to end up, would it be the people that you kind of sort of end up with, or would your choice be somebody completely different? And try to answer that without answering it. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. I think that who I would want to end up with is someone that I may end up with on the show, but you don't know that because you don't know the ending. That's answering without answering.
That's true.
I would say for the love really does speak for itself. I think the situations make things a little bit muddy and you got to figure out what you're going to deal with, what you can handle. But I think the love really does speak for itself.
I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. Look at you, Simone, getting all deep on a sister. Come on now. All right. So having said that, last but not least, just to lighten it up a little bit, as if it hadn't been light all along, but to lighten it up a little bit, what were you guys fans of the Fresh Prince, the sitcom, when it was on the air?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What's your favorite episode?
The one that's coming to mind that makes me laugh is when Ashley gets a job.
Oh,
And
hot
she's
dog
a
and a
hot
stick?
dog. And
Yeah.
what's it called?
Hot dog and a stick.
Yeah. No, it's a different.
I think that's what it's called. Hot
Okay,
dog and a dog.
yeah. That one's just so
Yeah.
funny.
I have so many favorites. Obviously, the famous Will dad scene,
Yeah.
all that. But I think actually one of my favorites is there's an episode where basically Will and Carlton are trying to join a fraternity. And they have to do all the dirty work, but no matter how much hard work they do, the head guy will not let Carlton in because he's too white. You know what I'm saying? He's not black, and Carlton has to tell him at the end, like, I'm fighting the same race. That, it was just very moving because it's funny the whole time, but then at the end, just like Fresh Prince always does, there's always a message, and that was a really good episode.
That's a great one.
Those were some good episodes. Y'all picked some good ones. I'll give you that. You picked some good ones. Well, that is my time, y'all. But I enjoyed this little time we had together, like Carol Burnett was saying. And I really enjoy your characters on the show. You're doing great jobs. And I love watching both of you also very much. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the creatives have in mind for your characters moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye now. Okay, now I know I don't have Uncle Phil. I know I ain't got Will. I know I ain't got Jeffrey. I know I don't have none of the ladies, but look what I had. I had Jazz and Lisa, Miss Simone and Mr. Jordan, and they brought it. I also had Morgan, who brought the Fresh Prince, who brought Bel Air to you in the first place, and Carla Banks Waddles, who is one of the showrunners, and they brought it with the answers to those questions. So we gonna thank them and encourage y'all to watch season 1, which is currently streaming on Peacock TV right now, and season 2, when it drops on February 23rd, which is in just a few days. I'm going to run to this chat room real quick one more time before we hop up on out of here. Raven says the creators should be so proud of the way they are bringing important issues to light and how they represent all. Excellent work by all. I totally agree. And thank you for the love of me and my mommy. Me and my mommy, honey, it's the situation over here. in the valley of the Los Angeles. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you to yourself and to Orlando for talking to me during this broadcast. Again, if this is your first time joining me, please give me a thumbs up if you are on the YouTube channel. Please hit a like or, retweet something if you are on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel and hit that bell for notifications if you are on YouTube, because as usual, you never know who you might see on this platform. Next week, this Sunday, now that I've caught up and I've got all my episodes and all my interviews out the way, we're going to do a Creed retrospective, because Creed 3, Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, is going to drop on March 3rd. So we're going to do a Creed retrospective, and we're going to start getting into some of these Oscar nominations. I may bring some people over here to talk to me about that, or we may just do like a little special 5 or 7 minute segment and clip it together and share that with y'all. But thank you so much for joining me. Thank you, Raven. Thank you, Orlando. So that's it for this episode of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Love, peace, and hair grease. And keep them hands washed. There's some nasty people out in them streets. Keep your hands washed. Be diligent about it. You know what I'm saying? And deuces. Until the next time. Bye.